What's up, guys? It's TRT77. Today I've got a little bit of a different video for you guys, and it is the free agency changes that we have made following a Week 5 loss in UPA Showdown. Now, we're nowhere where we wanted to be this season in the UPA. Now, obviously, we have gotten quite unlucky, especially with our first two games. And we're 2-3. We're sitting at 2-3 plus 2, which is, I think, currently 9th or 10th on the table. Nowhere where we want to be, but there's still 5 weeks left to go. So, a couple of new coaches took over a couple of teams, and they dropped a few things that I probably got sniped on during the draft. And that led me to think, hey, maybe there's an opportunity for me here. Like, there is an actual chance that I can get some of these mons and change the whole team altogether. Now, it's not as simple as one-to-one switches all the time, but this time it actually kind of worked out to be that way. Y'all already know I had difficulty with this team because I just felt like I couldn't field sixes that weren't either A, really electric week or really rock week, and there's matches where I could have still got swept, like, despite the fact that I fielded a 6 with Rotom, Mo and Nidoqueen, and that really scared me. And while Dusclops was able to clutch that game out because it was, it is the matchup fish, but the anti-matchup fish, but I don't want it to come down to those situations where I can easily be chipped down into those positions. So I made a few changes. I'm going to start us off with the first one. Our first change may not seem like much, but it gives us 2 extra points. Dusclops, unfortunately, has to be sacrificed here for the extra points. And in Dusclops' place, we are getting Carkol. Carkol is 2 points. It's not much, other than the points, there's not much to say here. Carkol gives us an extra rocker, an extra spike, gives us spikes, and it's a rapid spinner. And honestly, if it shows up to games, it's just going to be for hazard stack. Other than that, it does synergize one of the other mons we picked up quite well. And the other thing is it forces people to run water coverage and ground coverage and stuff, which is important because you will see with the mons we picked up that we have a few more 4 times weaknesses, and we want to stack those to make life as hard as possible for coverage for our opponents. And it's not going to be as simple as locking into Thunderbolt anymore. So this was a pretty straightforward call. I'm not really going to read too much into it. Next up was another very difficult decision for me, but we had to swap out Nidoqueen. Now, we're using one of the points we gained from the Dusclops trade to drop Nidoqueen for Glyce. Now, this does mean we do pick up another poison type. We're not missing a poison type. We do lose T-Spikes, which sucks, but honestly, I feel with the other mons we dropped, Glyce is very important. Was very important to pick up because A, gives us a solid rocker, a really good ground type, a really good ground immunity, 4 times ice weakness, which forces people to run ice coverage, which is great. It doesn't get affected by misty terrain, so it's a non-misty terrain status absorber, which is just beautiful. It gives us it just gives us taunt as well. We're not losing taunt. We get another really good defogger if we ever need to use it. Gives us another pivot with U-turn, which is great. And it gets recovery, which was one thing which I noticed which was difficult in a team where I was struggling in electric attacks. Nidoqueen not being able to recover really started to hurt me at some point, and Glyce will prevent that, and that's something I was really looking forward to with Glyce. Now, this does make us slightly more physically oriented because Nidoqueen was one of our special breakers, but we do fix that in the next trade. And our next trade is Corviknight for Gengar. Now, y'all probably asking me, you have to be crazy, right? Because you're giving up your steel type. And while, yes, I do agree that it's quite a radical move giving up a Corviknight mid-season, we got a better steel type, which is hard to say this late in the day, but it is what it is. Gengar gives us the special breaker we've been crying out for all season. We do lose a pivot here, obviously, but that we gain with Glyce. And it is such a good Pokemon. I've used Gengar in the past. It's such a good Scarfer, such a good Spexmon, and this fixes our upper speed tiers too, because we now go from 100 Victini, 105 Mienshao, 110 Gengar, and then 126 with Weavile. So those upper speed tiers look very good. And the other thing with Gengar is, obviously I did not want to have double poison types along with Victini. That's why I dropped Nidoqueen. It does give us a very, very good option to force teams to run ghost coverage or dark coverage, which again Victini doesn't care about too much. Which Tapu Fini doesn't care about too much. And I just really, really like using this Pokemon. Like, we get sub nasty plots. I've won entire games of just sub nasty plots. It's a very simple set, just wrecks certain teams, or just plain nasty plot. Certain teams just don't have the speed tiers to cope with nasty plot. And it plus Weavile is scary to switch into. Really scary to switch into, because you have to keep in mind, Weavile, Gengar, and Mienshao together are very difficult Pokemon to switch into. Combination of the three, and this is not including the fact that I have a Victini, it's not including the fact that I have a Tapu Fini, and it's not including the fact that we have our next Pokemon, which is Mega Scizor. Now we are welcoming Mega Scizor back into the Chennai Chandelures fold. I really, the second Mega Scizor was dropped, we got sniped on this, obviously, in the draft. This was gonna be our first pick. When I saw it get dropped, I was like, I have to jump on this. Like, I've appreciated Mega Arrow's services this season, but I feel like 1, the Rock's weakness, 2, the Electric weakness, 3, the Water weakness, it just kept adding up. The weakness to Priority, it just kept adding up. And honestly, at this point for 2 and 3, I want to go with a Mega that I'm far more comfortable with, and Mega Scizor fits that billing beautifully. Bullet Punch is just great Priority, and the fact that with Glyce score added on, with Mon like Garcoal, which can run Flash Fire and get up hazards for free, with the fact that it just doesn't really care about physical attacks really. It in Glyce score, I do not know how opponents are going to start breaking my team, and that just gives me a whole lot more faith in the way I'm going to be playing these games out. Honestly, right now, for the rest of the season, I could just bring 3 physical Mons with 8 Glycecore and Scizor, Glycecore, and Victini. I'll just be fine. Literally, I'll just be fine with those. That is the situation we find ourselves in with these transactions. If you'd like me to go over them once again, it is Mega Arrow for Mega Scizor, Corviknight for Gengar, Nidoqueen for Glycecore, and Dusclops for Garcoal. Now, of these changes, obviously, this does seem like it makes us more ground weak, but Glycecore really takes care of that. While we do inherit 2 ground weaknesses, we were not particularly ground weak in the past, and overall this doesn't change that too much. The next thing to note here is now that in addition to these Mons, now our speed tiers start with Weavile at 126. Our next Pokemon would be Gengar at 110. Then our next Pokemon is Mienshao at 105. Then Victini at 100. Then we have Glycecore at 95. Tapu Fini Totamo at 86. Tapu Fini at 85. Scizor Mega at 75. And then we have a little bit of a drop off from 75 to 50 with Garcoal and then Credilly. But honestly, I'll take the lower speed tiers being affected at this stage in the season. That's being affected, that's fine. But we've got the perfect speed tiers going from 75 to 126. And I really can't ask for more when it comes to this. And I'm just really hoping that we pull this off, guys. Every single game from here on forth is going to be basically a playoff final is what it's going to be. And that's where I'm hoping we can benefit from this season and make playoffs, and then we'll figure it out from there. But I'm much more comfortable with this team now than it was about 20 minutes ago, to be honest with you. So That's gonna be it for me, guys. This is TRT77, and this is me signing off.